There is a power assistance fund, you know, under power assistance fund, who and who benefited? How did it go? Who got them? We need to know. But beyond that, why will you remove subsidy now that subsidy has been removed from petroleum? Why is it that government will be quick to talk about money brought in by World Bank and IMF as loan, but they will not tell you how much Nigerian consumers have invested in the sector? It's injustice against citizens. They need to look at this. So there's no justification whatsoever to talk about the removal of subsidy. Transformers are connected to the grid at the weekend without adequate supervision. And why will transformer be connected to the grid at the weekend? It's so that there won't be supervision to identify, one, the quacks are the people doing it, and the materials that are used are not quality materials. Such things can cause grid collapse.
So, there's been this issue of removal of subsidy on electricity. As an association, we've been fighting and advocating for proper services to Nigerian people. What would be your reaction to this in the midst of the current hardship?
It is not justified. You see, taking advice from World Bank and taking advice from IMF and using it to rule Nigeria is not the best. It's not the best. The subsidy, when was subsidy even, where did the subsidy come? Let them give us account of how the subsidy was given. There is need for transparency and accountability in this sector. If you were giving subsidy, you are mentioning the amount. Who gave it? There is a power assistance fund, you know, under power assistance fund, who and who benefited? How did it go? Who got them? We need to know. But beyond that, why will you remove subsidy now that subsidy has been removed from petroleum? And you know very well that most industries and SMEs in Nigeria operate with electricity, the on-grid. Now they can't buy fuel to use. They don't even have the electricity to use. Now you want to remove subsidy and increase tariff for them to pay. By the way, the minister is talking about non-effective tariff. How? If you look at it, if you're talking about subsidy, who has been funding the sector? Is it the consumers or the DICOS that have been funding the sector? It is the consumers. If you look at it, can the minister present in sincere terms the amount of money these DICOS have invested in infrastructure, buying transformer, pole and wire, maintenance in the sector, and then how much consumers have invested? You will find out that most under network expansion and investment policy that was existing, consumers don't even know about that policy, no enlightenment. And what does that mean? If a consumer invests in buying transformer, pole and wire, he is supposed to recover his money. The DICOS should pay him back. Because those things, the moment they are energized, government takes over. The consumer can no longer lay claims to it. Now you are collecting the property bought by consumers by force from them without paying them back. How fair is that? And then the same consumers are the people you are saying you want to remove a subsidy, that they are not paying adequate tariff. How much has the DICOS invested? There is need to find out. How much has the DICOS invested in buying transformer, buying pole, buying wire, or connecting the thing to the areas that the commune, and then how much has local people invested? Why is it that government will be quick to talk about money brought in by World Bank and IMF as loan, but they will not tell you how much Nigerian consumers have invested in the sector? It's injustice against citizens. They need to look at this. So there's no justification whatsoever to talk about the removal of subsidy. Now look at it this way. They have increased tariff. They have increased tariff. And what was the reason for increase in tariff? Number one, the DICOS made presentation to Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission under what they call CAPEX, that is capital expenditure. They brought a report, the millions of naira they said they spent on CAPEX. Where did they install them? Who saw that? Where was it? Now, they didn't state the one consumers provided. Many neighborhood organizations have invested, buying pole, buying wire, buying transformer. Communities have invested. Individuals have invested. Where is the report? The minister should apply transparency, accountability, patriotism, fair play, equity and justice in dealing with electricity consumers. Because if you now investigate this, is there consultation with consumers in terms of capex, to know how much consumers in different states, local governments and communities have brought and what the discos have brought. You will see it, yet the regulator will give them approval to increase tariff under what they call opex, operational expenditure, which is to say, for instance, maintenance. You will agree with me that in most communities today, transformer will spoil. It is the consumers that will bring money before they are repaired. In most communities, pole will fall. Unless the consumers bring money, it will not be brought up. So all these monies, you will see the discos go and tell the regulator that they spent money on OPEX, that is operational expenditure. Regulator will approve and they will increase tariff. The same consumer who invested in these things without recognition and reform is still the same person that will pay the increased tariff, which is quite unfair. In 2020, CBN brought out about $96 billion that was brought into the sector to say they used it to empower discos to be able to provide meter under national mass metering policy, that they provide meter and give to consumers. How many consumers got the meter? What is the quantity of meters that were bought according to the disco franchise areas? The minister should give us this information. How many were bought? How many consumers benefited? But suffice it to say that even in demanding for tariff increase, the discos had gone to present that they want to pay back that loan. So increase in tariff means that they need to generate money to be able to pay back that loan. So consumers will not be paying money for discos to pay loan that they never benefited from. This is injustice. It will never happen anywhere. No IMF staff, no World Bank staff will allow this happen in his country. They will complain about it. Is it to say that this sector was privatized against Nigeria's interest, or it was privatized in favor of foreign interest, or in favor of a few Nigerians? We need to find out.
As a matter of advice, what would you tell those driving this unhealthy and anti-people policy of subsidy removal of electricity? And how would you ask them to approach it moving forward?
The issue in this is that the National Assembly need to look into what is happening in the power sector. And the minister should, in sincerity, even now that they're saying they've given states authority to establish, generate their own electricity and distribute, these issues should be discussed. For instance, the Bureau of Public Enterprises, at the inception of power sector privatization, said that the state, local government, and federal own 40% share of the value chain. So what has the states benefited from 2013 till date? And most of the consumers reside in local governments and states. So how much has each of the states benefited? There is need to find out. So state governments need to review before they say they are going to generate their own. How much is generated from each state? Because even if private investors will invest in enabling states generate and distribute, they want data that will convince them that they will be able to make profit in that business. If that is not done, it will be a problem. So there is need for customer-based survey, customer-based consultation at various states and local government levels before the problem in the power sector can be solved. That's my position.
So, the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, claimed grid collapse as the reason for which transmission lines. What's your take on this?
Grid collapse. It's unfortunate that the minister is wrongly advised. And some of the statements the minister made in his press briefing showed that the minister has not really interacted with the real stakeholders. Stakeholders in the power sector are not just government agencies, departments and ministries. It has to do with other stakeholders. When you talk about grid collapse, you're looking at the safety and the quality, the standard and quality of materials used in the electricity network. Now, you look at a situation where quack professionals are used to carry out installations. Well, for instance, when you look at the Nigerian power sector, there is an organization called Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA. That agency has the mandate to certify electrical contractors, personnel that will carry out electrical installations in the country. They certify them. They are supposed to be involved in quality and standard of materials that are used for electrification purposes. Now, who are the people that carry out installations? There is an organization they call Licensed Electrical Contractors Association of Nigeria. The association is made up of those that are certified by NEMSA, the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency. But suffice it to say that most installations are done by non-certified personnel who lack the competence and capacity to do this. And then who monitors them? What is the number of staff of NEMSA that will monitor the 774 local government areas and 36 states of the Federation? So there's a monitoring problem. Now, the issue is, who are the people carrying out installations? Are they certified? Then what is the relationship between NEMSA and licensed electrical contractors in terms of ensuring that certified and qualified personnel carry out electrical installations? That's something that the minister needs to find out. Because, for instance, last year, the Abuja chapter of LECAN, Licensed Electrical Contractors Association, held a program where they revealed that in Abuja, for instance, transformers are connected to the grid at the weekend without adequate supervision. And why will transformer be connected to the grid at the weekend? It's so that there won't be supervision to identify, one, the quacks are the people doing it, and the materials that are used are not quality materials. Such things can cause grid collapse. Such things can cause inadequacy of electricity supply. Another angle you will look at is, what are the cables? How competent are the cables? What is the standard of cables used? Standards Organization of Nigeria has the responsibility of maintaining standards. But what you see, go to the markets today, you see substandard cables all over the place. How do they come in? Do Nigerian Customs and SSIs ensure that the imported cables and electrical materials are tested to certify that they are of standards to be used in Nigeria? So when fake cables are all over the markets, you see that the people, quacks, are installing with fake or substandard materials. You can't have a stable grid. Now, there is Cable Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. The local manufacturers of cable, they are crying. If you go check them, the imported fake materials are competing with the quality materials that the local manufacturers are producing. Unfortunately, the minister will not talk about encouraging these local players in this sector. What has the minister interfaced with Licensed Electrical Contractors Association of Nigeria since he assumed office? To know their own view about grid collapse and the stability of the networks. He needs to interface with them to know how the networks can be made stable. He needs advice from those people. Number two, has he interfaced with the cable manufacturers? When the government has invested so much money encouraging the DICOS, the distribution companies are private operators, just like the cable manufacturers are private operators. So why will government be supporting only the distribution companies, but they will not support the local manufacturers so that they can manufacture these things in quantity to now reduce sending our money, reduce the problems of forex? So if the minister sincerely want the sector to function optimally and ensure that the FX problem will not affect the sector, he need to consult with local manufacturers to know whether they could be given waiver in terms of materials they use for production, and then to know how they can fight these fake, substandard, adulterated cables that are competing with them. Because what has happened is that those people are no longer selling because the price of the substandard ones are cheaper, and quacks who don't believe in quality and standards are using them. So those who are professionally qualified to carry out installations are crying. Those who are registered and qualified to manufacture locally are crying. Meanwhile, our minister is talking about foreigners. How can that work? So the issue is not just about transmission lines. If it is transmission lines, there are transmission lines that are working, yet you don't see the grid stable. You don't see electricity stable. Is it transmission line that is causing that one? When look at the football, the AFCON that just finished, why is it that at the point where the ball will start, light will go, and you see Nigerians troop to beer parlor and hotels to watch the ball? What is the cause? Shouldn't the minister, within the context of sense of patriotism, begin to ask, why will the electricity companies deny Nigerians the privilege of supporting their people? Why will Nigerians be forced to leave their homes and go to beer parlor and restaurants to watch the ball because light has gone off. Shouldn't the minister be concerned? Is it transmission line that is causing that one?